Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was created in the relationship subreddit by a user named Mom42. The post is titled, "My husband lied about having cancer and it cost us our son's life." For a little background, I, 38F, married my husband, 39, when I was 23. We were very much in love and got married after dating for 2 years. I've never felt insecure in our relationship. I always felt like I had a great husband. While my friends and neighbors were divorcing, my husband and I rarely had issues greater than arguments here and there. I felt like I had a perfect family. We have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. Our son is 14 and our daughter is 11. Recently, our son became reclusive, locking himself up in his room, spending all day on his phone or his computer. I did encourage him to open up and get some fresh air, but of course he ignored me. I figured it was just teen stuff. I was the same at his age. All my friends and family said he'd grow out of it. Now, my husband is a cancer survivor. He developed bone cancer at the age of 12 and was constantly in and out of the hospital until he was 17 when he beat it. He always talks about having cancer, how he was stripped of his childhood, and how we should be appreciative of our lives. I've never been anything but supportive of him, and I know health is a very sensitive topic for him. Fast forward to now, 2 weeks ago, our son killed himself. I don't want to get into the details, but I found him in his room. This is truly the most horrible thing I have ever been through, and I am still trying to recover. But the situation with my husband has only made this so much worse. In my son's note, he says he feels useless, that he's unappreciative and lazy, and that his dad managed to beat cancer, and yet he can barely wake up in the morning. My husband was very distraught over this. I assured him this wasn't his fault, but he was inconsolable, especially about that part specifically. My husband was a wreck, I was too, but I still had to make funeral arrangements and break the news. I called my in-laws to tell them what happened. It's very important to know that I don't talk to my in-laws unless it's about the kids. My husband is almost completely no contact with his family besides his sister, but she lives in a different state. I told them a bit about what my son wrote and mentioned the cancer. My mother-in-law was very confused. What cancer? I didn't know what she meant, so I said, yeah, he felt like he wasn't as good as my husband since he survived cancer, but he couldn't do basic things. My mother-in-law then said, what? He never had cancer. I was so shocked and confused. I told her he did and he always talks about it, but she assured me he never had it. My husband always has terrible things to say about his mom, so I wasn't sure if I should believe her or not. He calls his parents, especially his mom, abusive and narcissistic. But after the call ended, she sent me photos of my husband in his youth. Pictures of him on the soccer team in 10th grade. But my husband always told me he could never join any sports because he was always in and out of the hospital. This basically proved it. I was furious and blamed him for what happened to our son. After my husband came home, this all happened while he was getting groceries. I yelled and screamed until I couldn't anymore. At first, he denied it, but after I showed him the proof, he stayed silent. I couldn't believe it. I punched him in the face, then went outside to get some fresh air. I'm honestly not a very violent person, but this is genuinely the most mad I've ever been in my entire life. I still don't know what to do. My son's funeral has passed, but I am still absolutely furious. I've been sleeping on the couch and only talking to him when needed. How do I tell my daughter? Should I? How do I tell all my friends who see his bullshit posts about being a survivor that he's a piece of shit and a liar? I don't know what to do. I feel so but I don't want to burden my daughter by making her lose 2 family members like that, especially when that means leaving her with that f***ing psychopath that lied to me for 17 years. I feel so conflicted. I hate him to my core, but I still love him. Like I said, our marriage has always been good. I've been in love with him for so long now, I don't know how to stop. I've relied on him and looked to him for comfort, built a family with him, and now I feel backstabbed. It makes me wonder what else he has lied about. Edit, to anyone questioning my story. Like I said, I don't speak to his family. I only have his parents' cell because they are still entitled to visit their grandchildren regardless of how he feels about them. My kids would spend time with them around 1 to 2 times a month. No, they did not come to the wedding. Like I said, my husband is on very bad terms with everyone but his little sister. We have met and she was at the wedding, but I still don't know her very well and she lives in Florida, so it's hard to have a relationship with her. His parents actually did want to come to the wedding, but he didn't want them there. He's always been secretive about his life before he met me. As for childhood friends or anything like that, as far as I know, he's not really close to any of them anymore. Most of his friends that I know went to college with him and they know about the cancer, so I guess that's when he started lying about it. He has shown me childhood photos, but most are from when he was really young, not when he was a teen, which is when he had cancer. The ones where he is a teen, his head was shaven, so it wasn't hard to believe he was going through treatment. His excuse for not having many childhood photos is that his parents have them all, and since he doesn't like them, he doesn't want to ask them for his photos. I know that is complicated, and I know that my husband isn't the only reason my son did this. He just felt insecure and compared himself to my husband, who turned out to be a liar. I'm very emotional right now, anyone would be. So even though I know it isn't my husband's fault, I'm still upset and feel disdain for him knowing my son died thinking his dad was so much better than him. I don't know anything about cancer besides the basics, so it was easy to lie, I guess. Cancer is not necessarily something that comes up in casual conversation, and I wouldn't talk about it unless he did, so I wouldn't bring up any bad memories. That's all I have to say about that, so I won't be replying to any more comments to defend myself because apparently other people lie on here. I've never even used Reddit before, so that's why this account is new. Edit 2, thank you for all your kind comments and your advice. I'm torn on what to do as I can't picture myself ever trusting him again, but I also rely on him financially and my daughter is already going through so much. I don't want to add divorce on top of it. I also know that long process would drain me out as well when I already feel like I'm dying. This is not something I think I can get over, but I'm not sure I can leave him either. User MamaBear4485 said, "Honey, I'm going to say this in the kindest and most gentle way possible. Firstly, please let me extend my very deepest condolences to you for the loss of your baby boy. The reason he breaks contact with everyone is so that he can compartmentalize each piece of his life. Compulsive liars always do that so that each person holds a fragment of the puzzle that would reveal who he really is. As long as each puzzle piece is kept separate, his secret self remains in the shadows. You need to proceed with extreme caution. More of your husband's secrets are going to come out and he will do or say anything to protect himself. That makes him unimaginably dangerous. I know it sounds a little dramatic, but please be very, very careful." User Bizianka said, "I am so sorry for your loss. On one side, your kid's decision is not your husband's fault. On the other side, your husband not only lied to you, his friends, and his kids, he created a whole new persona and pretended to be that other person. It means that there is a very strong possibility that he lies about other things. You can't trust him. I would not be able to forgive him and live like it was an innocent story." User Religion Lies to You said, "No one commits suicide because of one thing. It is not your husband's fault your son died. I think couples counseling is in order to save the family. You are grieving and lashing out as any mother would, but many people have worse things happen to them than a father who recovered from cancer and they don't kill themselves. Hopefully with counseling you won't have to lose both a child and a previously healthy marriage, and maybe with counseling he can figure out why he felt the need to lie about something so irrelevant." User Labello Enchanted said, "If you're not in therapy, I would recommend it for your daughter and yourself. Both of you could benefit from grief counseling. You can reveal your husband's lies with the therapist's guidance. I think you should tell her. It seems your husband made this cancer story a big part of his personality, and the lies will be revealed eventually. It's better if it comes from you in a controlled environment. If you stay quiet, she might blame you as well when she finds out. Don't risk damaging your relationship with your daughter over your husband's lies. I would personally reconsider the whole marriage. I don't think I could ever forgive or forget. Who knows what else he lied about? Can you get a job and become independent? You could at least get an appointment with a divorce lawyer and see what your options are. You might be entitled to spousal alimony. Don't stay with him just because divorce might be difficult. Think of your and your daughter's mental health." OP later provided an update. Hi everyone, and thank you again for all of the supportive comments. I know I can't have a relationship with him anymore, not just for my sake, but I mentally wouldn't be able to. We are still not speaking, but I'm still unsure about going as far as divorce, at least for now, because our family is having such a hard time. I'm also not financially stable and rely on him for income. I haven't told my daughter yet, and I still don't know if I should. I saw my sister today and I lost it. I couldn't keep it to myself anymore. She wants me to tell everyone and and expose him, but I'm still not sure if I should for the sake of our daughter. She promised not to tell anyone else, so it's still just between us. As for how my daughter is doing, when everything first happened, she was barely speaking, and I would hear her crying in her room almost every night. I'd go in and cuddle with her, and these moments really are the ones that made me conflicted on telling everyone about my husband's lies. My daughter is already heartbroken, and I don't want her to essentially lose another family member, even if it's not in the same way. For the past few days, she's been seeming better. Of course, my son passed very recently, so it's not like everything is just normal, but she is talking to her friends again, playing outside, etc. Seeing her like this really makes me miss him. I've gotten some feedback saying I was neglectful, a bad mother, etc. because I didn't get my son the help he needed. I understand people's concerns, but who says that to a grieving mother? My son went out almost every day with his friends. He just wasn't opening up to us as much, which is why I thought he was just becoming a teen. When you're 14, it's normal to break away from family. I did have some concerns though, so we had conversations, but he still wouldn't open up to me and insisted nothing was wrong. Do I regret not looking further into it and getting him help? Of course I do, but I didn't think it was as serious as it really was. Again, talking about me blaming my husband for this, I know that it wasn't about only him. He's my son, and he explained more about why he chose to do what he did, but the fact that he included his dad's cancer in his final words makes me think it played a role. My husband also would constantly tell the kids, appreciate your life, be happy you're healthy. When the kids, especially my son, would complain about not being able to go out, my husband would say things like, I wasn't able to go out at all as a kid because of my cancer, be grateful. Looking back, I should have stopped him from saying these things. But he got defensive when it came to his cancer, which I thought was understandable. I didn't want to control him as someone who has never dealt with anything like that. This next story was made in the Cheating Stories subreddit by a user named Send Me Your Stories. This one really had me up for a while until recently, now that I finally got the closure I needed. I had been in what I thought was a happy long-distance relationship. I met her while at one of my schools, early on at that so time together could be maximized, which is exactly what happened. We had a fight every now and then, but nothing crazy. There were things for both of us to work on, what one would expect from people in their early 20s. We ended up getting engaged in 2018 during fall while we visited my family together. The last time we saw each other was in March of 2020 when I left for deployment. Unknown to both of us, it would proceed to become an extremely long deployment of about a year, but we were both committed, or so I thought. Every week I would buy about $200 of phone cards to ensure I could call the important members of my family, spending most of that on her. Getting the opportunity to talk to every one of them was important to me. I even used the email system to keep in contact. Everything was going well. I had my support back home. I was working to make myself better to ensure my health for the family she and I promised each other. December of 2020 rolls around a week after Thanksgiving when I receive an email from her stating we need to talk. No, I love you at the bottom of the message. Instantly felt drained and sick to my stomach, having fear of exactly what was happening. I wasn't able to talk to her immediately due to being on the opposite side of the world, and it wasn't until the middle of the night in which I am able to finally call to talk. What I ended up getting was I don't know what I want right now, I need to take a break. Please don't call me, I'll let you know when. I say this from a far removed but personal perspective. I was completely devastated. The privacy of my own rack was isolating, so instead I would stay awake for much longer hours than I should to be around friends instead. I stopped working out, I stopped talking, at times I stopped thinking and was not present mentally. December had both Christmas and her birthday, both events I was unable to contact this person who I trusted with my heart. It wasn't until a full month had passed that I broke the silence and ended up calling her for a direct answer. We broke up. She gave me zero closure, only stating she didn't love me anymore. That is the part that fucked me up and proceeded to pervade nearly every relationship I had attempted from then on. How can one be so careless with love? Had I been lied to for the past couple years? After the month of torture, not knowing what the outcome would be, being constantly in denial that it was over, how would I be able to let myself be so vulnerable again with another, to have the potential for my heart to be ripped out? All questions that had passed through my head. I didn't date properly for the next 3 years. I would express interest, go on a date, then fall off the earth with every single person as I couldn't get past the feeling of never being able to feel vulnerable. I kept in contact with her, I know, bad move, for some time, somewhat still seeking the closure I never got. I also followed the posts she had on Reddit. It was something I had done in our relationship since I had introduced her to it. I knew the account, so when we had been dating, I would secretly upvote her posts to help her feel better. In my snooping effort, I found out she had a boyfriend from a Reddit post shortly before I ended up returning to the States. I saved this post so I could more easily reference it for comments made on it by her, trying to get information for why it had ended. I thought it was fishy, but there was nothing concrete. She had been cheated on before and had made many declarations she would never do that to another person. I still believed that. I ended up blocking her on everything except here once I found out she bought a house with the boyfriend in less than 1 year of visible dating, which to me seemed to point she had been with this person for far longer than what it looked like. But again, nothing concrete. After blocking her, I still thought about the relationship from time to time as I still had unresolved trauma from it preventing me from dating anyone long term. I ended up meeting my now girlfriend and felt so genuinely accepted and loved by her. Our conversations are upfront, but loving in that we're not afraid to tell the other when something is wrong and have no fear of repercussions in any form. And that is something I hadn't felt truly before outside of my immediate family. That's to say, regardless of my knowledge of what happened to me years ago, it meant nothing to the present I felt. I stopped thinking about my vulnerabilities as something to be protected and viewed them as something to be shared. A couple days ago, after I've saved plenty of posts, I decided to take a look at what I had built up. I found the post I saved and curiosity had gotten the better of me as I looked to see if anything had changed with my ex. Lo and behold, it had. I found out she had cheated on me by her own words and that she was struggling now in her relationship with the guy she cheated on me with. I'll admit it felt good. I got the closure I didn't really need, but it was just good to be so right. She talked about all of the they had while we were together and it wasn't happening anymore, and I couldn't help but laugh at my past self for being so naive about it all. I really dodged a bullet and fell into the arms of an angel. I felt pretty good about it all, like a cold case finally being closed that I felt the need to share. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. TLDR, I am a snoop at times, and this time it helped me get the closure I didn't need to find out she cheated. User Starry Sky X said, it's natural to seek validation when you've been hurt. Finding out that your ex was unfaithful can provide some sense of closure or vindication, especially after enduring so much pain. It's okay to feel a mix of emotions about it. Anyway, good luck on your next relationship. User Wellman81 said, lesson learned and a bullet dodged. She thought the grass was going to be greener on the other side of the fence, and she found out it was just as shit brown. Their relationship was fun and exciting when it was forbidden, but now that reality has set in, it's become boring and troublesome. Just don't be there when she tries to come crawling back to you when their relationship ends. Best of luck on your new journey. User Longstroke Machine said, people in relationships looking to better deal their situation are always looking for the better deal. She'll fake a future with every guy she's involved with while keeping a keen eye out for something better. She'll tell the guy she's in a relationship with how much she loves him while telling the new guy how miserable she is. Why don't they just cut ties with you once they know they're not happy enough? Because the new guy makes them only slightly happier, for now, and they want to hold their spot with you in case it really isn't a better deal. That's how selfish these people are. A narcissist thinks everyone else in their life is an NPC. I'm sorry this happened to you.